See, as you can see, my new garage, I have a bit of lumber storage problem. The new garage here does not have tall ceilings, so I can't really do any vertical storage or horizontal storage up high out of the way. So I went and scrummaged around online, found a few of my favorite woodworking guys, and everything that I kept thinking of came back to Steve Ramsey's wood storage cart from Woodworking for Mere Mortals. I think every time I try to design something myself, I couldn't get that design out of my head. So everything I designed looked almost exactly like it. So I just went with his design, give him credit for it. It's a very good design, and can't wait to get started. So let's go.
So we're going to start by cutting out the base. It's going to be 30 inches by 48 inches. I have to cut everything using my skill saw because I don't trust my table saw. And will probably be another story for another video. I actually very much hate that table saw. I'm going to be using a bore clamp as a straight edge to get the straightest cut that I can with a skill saw. So I was debating on taking this out of the video or not, but I feel like if you're going to be a DIYer, kind of build things yourself, that this is an important lesson, and where you have an idea, you try it, and it utterly fails. And this is kind of the results of that. I'm trying to pinch the wood down so that I can cut it using some sort of pinching method with some clamps, and it all just falls apart. And I kind of let the air get the best of me. So always remember, safety first. Use eye, hearing, and respiratory protection when using power equipment. So let's go ahead and cut out that base. So now that the base is cut, I need a router and the dados for the vertical wall, as well as the dividers. I'm using an undersized plywood router bit here, and that was a huge mistake, but more on that later. I'm using the bore clamp here, again, to router the straightest dados I can. I dated the divider walls as well, but I messed up filming that part. Sorry, this is my first real video, and mistakes were made. Now onto the vertical wall. This piece is 40 inches by 40 inches, and has 4 dadoed shelves that will be attached to it. Following Steve's plans, the first shelf is spaced 12 3/8 inches from the bottom of the wall to the bottom of the first shelf. Then a 10-inch space between the top of the first shelf and the bottom of the second shelf. 10 inches again for the spacing between the second and third shelves. And finally, a 9 1/4 inch space between the third shelf and the top shelf, leaving roughly 3 3/8 spacing between the top of the top shelf and the top of the vertical wall. Like the base, use a straight edge to get the straightest cut as possible when routering a dado. Then cut the dados for the 4 shelves. Here I am ripping the 3 pieces that will become the dividing walls. These divider walls were cut from a 40 inch by 48 inch piece of ply to get 3 pieces measuring 12 inches by 40 inches. In case you're wondering, that blue bit attached to my skill saw is a Kreg, spelled K-R-E-G, rip cut. It attaches to the bottom of your skill saw and allows you for quick and accurate rip cuts, repeatedly. Of course, I have 6 subscribers, so I'm not sponsored by Kreg. I just really like all their products and I recommend them to anyone.
So to maximize the amount of wood used, I've cut 3 of these, which you saw, and then I had this board left over from the cutoff of the base, and that's 17.5 inches. So instead of doing these little chamfer bits here, I'm just going to cut them straight, angled across like that. So 17.5, I'll measure up. These are 40 inches tall. I'll measure up 17.5 here,
17 and a half there, and then I'll cut them on that diagonal like that, so I can get 2 out of each, not have to worry about cutting extra chamfers, and everything will match up nice and neatly. Now it's time to attach the dividing walls to the base. I'll be gluing and stapling them into place, and then coming back with a few screws for good measure. Due to the undersized dado for the plywood, it took a lot of friendly persuasion to get the divider walls to seat completely. I did this procedure for the 3 middle divider walls, leaving the outside walls to be attached after the vertical wall is glued and screwed. I know in this clip the vertical wall is already in place, but remember a few minutes ago when I said that using an undersized bit for plywood was a huge mistake? This is where it really started to cause me some issues. You should either use good cabinet grade wood with an undersized bit, or use normal nominal bit for crappy wood, like I'm using here. I had to go back and chisel an extra 1/8 of an inch or so down the entire dado just to get the vertical wall to fit in the dado joint. I also started gluing and screwing the 2 end divider walls on as well. After all the divider walls were in place, I attached the front panel by pre-drilling the holes and securing everything in place with 2-inch screws. The dado joint made it really easy to assemble and added a lot of strength to the cart in the end. This concludes part 1 on Steve Ramsey's wood storage cart build. I'll leave a link to Steve's plans in the description box below. So thanks for watching. This is my first real video that actually has editing, so please leave a comment if you have any suggestions for future videos. You know, anything that bothered you, please let me know. I hope to get better as time goes on, so see you next time.